How many of you out there like to ball on a budget? Today, we're gonna take a lower grade cut meat, a chuck roast, usually intended for stews and casseroles, and we're gonna take it up a notch into a smoked meat sandwich. So my name's Andrew, and today we're gonna REKA chuck roast sandwich. It's flipping squanched. So here's where it's at, guys. We have a 3.5 pound chuck roast. I have some American cheese, America. For those of you that aren't in America, this is otherwise known as a house cheese or an English cheddar. I have some butcher's twine. I have my own blend of spice rub that we're gonna be putting on the chuck roast before we smoke it. I also have offset some hoagie rolls. And in those rolls, aside from the meat and the melted cheese we're gonna put over the top, I'm gonna make a red onion jam. For that, I have a 1/4 cup of balsamic vinegar, a cup of brown sugar, 2 large red onions. I'm also gonna be using a couple of other things like butter and salt. But let's get at this thing. Let's tie this up and put it in the smoker, where it will stay comfortably in its own personal day spa for 6 hours. So now I have the rub done. Let's throw this puppy on the grill. Okay, so my coal in my green egg smoker is up to temperature, and I have this ceramic plate in here which creates a convection oven type effect. So I'm using an old pie tray, and I'm gonna add just like a 1/2 inch of water in there, which is the grill's now gonna go in, and the meat's gonna sit over the top of that. That's gonna catch all the drippings, and it's also gonna just hydrate a little bit, humidify a little bit of the atmosphere in the smoker so it doesn't fully dry smoke. Now let's put the meat on the fire. Just gonna take this little beautiful cut of meat here. We're gonna say goodbye to that for 6 hours. All right, now we're gonna do the onion jam, the red onion jam. A couple of latecomers to the party. 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of fresh cracked pepper, a stick or a cup of butter softened, and some olive oil. Right, first we're gonna start with the red onions. And we're gonna slice them thinly. Okay, let's bring this together. We're gonna start by putting the whole stick of butter in. There's a bunch of different ways to do this. This is the way I like to do it. We're gonna let that fully melt down. We don't want it to fully brown. We just wanna have the melting of the butter. So let that start moving. I'm gonna add approximately 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and I'm gonna start bringing in my red onions.
Good onion is a heavy onion.
Doesn't matter that the butter hasn't fully melted. I have a good layer of oils on the bottom. Now this is all about rendering and reducing down. These onions look like there's a whole bunch. They're gonna probably half in volume as they cook down. I'm gonna take the salt and pepper. Just gonna evenly distribute that through the onions.
Or the onion.
Once the butter melts, and
the onions
are starting to caramelize, we're gonna add in the balsamic, the brown sugar. So we're gonna leave this for a minute and let this cook down. Okay, now the onions are starting to turn translucent and they're starting to render down and reduce down. So we're going to add in our balsamic vinegar. It's gonna give it flavor as well as color. And we're also gonna add in some of our brown sugar. Now I'm gonna start light. If you put too much brown sugar in, it almost turns into a candy where it goes hard like caramel when it's cool. So we want to give it just enough flavor where it encourages a browning and a caramelizing without going too crazy. So I always start light and then I work up from there if it needs, to taste, if it needs more. So I just want to mix this in, turn it over a little bit. You're going to start to notice they're going to get like brown. The onions will just soak up all of the brown glaze from the balsamic and the sugar, and you'll just start to watch them turn from a red to like a dark brown chutney kind of jam color. So we're just gonna let this keep cooking. Look at that color texture, isn't that beautiful? Now I'm gonna turn the heat down, and I'm just gonna let this cook off for a while and just let it reduce and caramelize and just begin to render down. And you're gonna watch those colors start to come in. So we'll see in a little bit on this.
6 hours later.
Oh, flat. Oh, flat. Okay, so we're up to temperature now. We're gonna let this rest for like 15 minutes. I'm gonna wrap this in foil, let it rest for 15 minutes, and then we're gonna get ready to serve it. Let's go. Okay, let's just wrap this boy. That's the fastest Christmas present wrapping you ever saw. All right.
Smell like beef and cheese.
It's not the best Christmas wrapping neither. We're gonna leave this for 15 minutes, let it fully rest, let all the juices redistribute, and by the time we're done, it's gonna be ready to eat. Our meat has now rested for the last 15 to 20 minutes. All those beautiful juices have rehydrated and redistributed through the meat. So let's open it up. Look at that, wow. That is a gorgeous thing right there. Let's not lose any of that juice. So there's our string. We're gonna start slicing now. See, for an underrated piece of meat, this is a phenomenal cut. It holds its form. It still has all of that goodness in there. It's soft like a brisket, but it actually holds its form like a steak, so it's perfect for a sandwich. This back half had a lot of fat in it, so it's gonna be very, yeah, you can see it's hydrating. Real nice. See? All those juices just flowing. So now I'm gonna show you how I bring this whole entire thing together. I have some hoagie buns that I've toasted. We have our beautiful red onion jam, our 6-hour slow smoked chuck roast, and we have some American cheese. And then finally, I have a chipotle maple mayo. So we're gonna go over to the griddle right now. I'm gonna put the meat on, cover it with American cheese, scoop it straight into the bun, garnish it with some red onion jam, finish it with our sauce, serve it. Let's go. We've got two of our, look how juicy they are. Look at that. That is a phenomenal performance. I'm gonna take some standard American cheese. Why not give it a double dose? So I'm gonna throw down a little bit of water. Some people use an piece of ice, and it creates steam so that as it steams, it helps to melt the cheese more quickly. Freshly toasted hoagie bun. Beautifully caramelized piece of meat right there, finished with some nice American. Look how fast this comes together. Here's our red onion jam. We're going to anoint that sandwich with some red onion jam. Look at that. We're gonna finish with this mayo, chipotle maple. That, my friends, is all she wrote. Cool. This is my buddy Casey. We go diving all the time and hang out. He's gonna tell you what he thinks.
That looks amazing. That was so good.
Isn't it?
Oh my goodness. That was really good. All right, I'm eat the whole thing.
Yeah, go for it, man. Good flavor.
The grilled onions, the cheese, the hoagie bun. Wow. And the meat is just straight fire. I can't believe you did that. It is chuck.
It's chuck steak, man. That's what people usually use for a pot roast.
That is so good.
Glad you like it, man. Hey guys, you need to think about your chuck steak differently. Stop abusing it in stews and start smoking it and making sandwiches, okay? We need to rethink our value system here, all right? Please like, subscribe, and share. And remember, we're gonna be back next week with an amazing recipe for you to drool at and then hopefully copy in your own kitchen. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.